Yeah.
So I feel like we're not patient enough to allow ourselves to grow and to be comfortable with who we are before we get into a relationship. Comfortable with being alone, because if you're not comfortable being alone, you're gonna make a decision just to find someone. I just got to football practice. I am excited. First football practice for the year. I did play one season of football. I'm excited to have a great season this year. So yeah, stay tuned. I'm gonna show some highlights before I get into the nitty-gritty of what we're gonna be talking about today. Out here, about to share my little warm-up routine. Once I've done 2 laps, I usually go into what you call skips. I have to break a sweat in order for me to say that I've warm up. Warm-ups without sweat is like cold-ups. This is the look of someone who just warmed up. You ain't sweating, you ain't warm. This is the extent you have to go to prevent injuries. And I'm not even finished yet. Now we ready for the real work. After all that stretching, still pull something. Lead a little. Yeah, lead it. I ain't really bad, you know. It's only like a little touch. Yeah, it's only a little touch. It ain't too bad.
Yeah, hot.
It was at this moment that he knew.
We're gonna get down to the nitty-gritty of this conversation today. We're gonna talk about relationships. So yeah, a lot of people think we have soulmates. Feel free to interrupt. I don't, let's go back and forth. A lot of people believe in soulmates. Personally, I was so free when I stopped believing in soulmates. I had this class where the teacher
was so what?
I became free when I stopped believing in soulmates, because that was the issue. I was afraid to come out of a relationship because I thought that was my soulmate. And I did this course about marriage and families and diverse cultures. And my lecturer was talking about the soulmate idea, and she gave us the opportunity to write down questions that she would answer every class. And I was like, I write something about soulmate. I was very passionate. I wanted this to be the answer that would solve my life's biggest crisis at the time. So when she answered, I was like, man, that was a good answer, but that wasn't enough. Yeah. So I decided to open up to her about it. And she told me, she was like, what if your soulmate dies? So you will never get married? These are questions I never asked myself. And she really began to break it down to me that God allows you to choose, and He helps to guide you. He gives you guidelines of, Proverbs 31 and all these different stuff you can use to make the decision.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's your decision. I was like, what? That makes so much sense. I'm free at last, bro. That was one of the biggest revelations for me in relationships, when I stopped looking for my soulmate.
For me, like you said, you were saying to me earlier about a balance. There's a balance in everything. So I'll try to counteract and bring the balance, because I feel like in life itself, we could generally be...
Oh, crap. Oh. For those who live in the Bahamas, you would know that we are in Bailey Park.
Yeah.
And nobody really comes at. Why would they drive all the way around at this time of night? I don't know. I mean, it's not that late, but
They saw cameras.
yeah.
They
So
wanted
go
to
back
be part.
to what you saying.
Yeah. So basically, trying to bring a balance to it all, because I feel like even though we make some good points or whatever the case may be, there's still gonna be someone that's gonna say, "But." I know I heard an argument about, when God put Adam to sleep, basically, and took his rib, and he presented Adam with Eve, and so a lot of people would say, well, hold on, maybe God will present to me my wife,
Yes, he's gonna present to you options.
Options, okay.
There was only one woman at the time.
Yeah, okay.
So I mean, I had no options, but he got a perfect woman.
Yeah,
We have it harder than Adam.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of options.
options. Okay.
So yeah, he presenting you with options,
Yeah.
viable, amazing options. Now it's up to you
Okay,
to choose
makes
which
sense.
option. I'm not trying to be one-sided with the argument, but I just think that even that principle, right, that's flawed, because that's not a command.
Yeah.
Thou shalt wait for the wife that I will present to you. Now, if you could find that in the Bible, and hit me up, show me
Link
that,
it in
you
the
would
description.
put that in the comments.
Yeah.
But I don't see that as a biblical theology to base making a decision. I think one of the mistakes we make as young people, like we kind of desperate for companionship, for relationships, for love, and desperate people never make good
Right
decisions. When you desperate, when you hungry, you willing to eat anything.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're not patient enough to allow ourselves to grow and to be comfortable with who we are before we get into a relationship. Comfortable with being alone, because if you're not comfortable being alone, you're gonna make a decision just to find someone. And a lot of times we find ourselves in less than ideal relationships, situations. We know things not working, or we know this, we don't want to marry this person, or all these different factors. But at the same time, because we're so desperate, we're trying to make it work. I think that's one of the biggest skills right now in dating as a young person.
So what about, you say desperate, what if I say anticipation? What if for me, I feel like I'm at a stage in my life where I'm expecting and I'm anticipating marriage, like that's a decision that I want to venture into. I need to be married by this age. I'm anticipating that, marriage. I'm not desperate in that I'm gonna run to anyone, but I'm anticipating it, and that's kind of adding some level of pressure. The same way desperation could add that level of pressure. What do you say to that?
But it's different. There's a difference between being desperate and being excited.
Okay.
You could be excited about something and not desperate for it.
Okay.
Excitement means that you're going to be working on yourself. Excitement means you're going to be reading books, you're going to be studying, you're going to be praying.
Yeah.
You're going to be working on your character, preparing yourself for the person God up for you. Desperation means... Let me make sure.
Desperation means you need to hurry and get that camera out of the way.
Alright, so desperation means you're willing to do anything to get with someone you're attracted with. You're attracted to this person, so you're willing to compromise on certain things. You know that this person not a strong Christian. You know that this person isn't what you really want. You know that this person isn't, you want someone that, you know what I mean. You might have some ideals, some standards, and you compromise on your standards because you really want a relationship and a few good things going for this person, and they look good.
Okay.
That's desperation. Not waiting on, I don't want to say waiting on the right person, because like we say, there's no one right person, but instead of being patient and choosing a suitable partner, you decide to go and date someone that you know not up to par. So it's a big difference.
So I have two questions, right? And
hey, don't ask all the question though, because I'm not a relationship guru.
No,
I need you to put some stuff in there too. I just be reading stuff.
Okay, for me, right? This how I feel, right? I feel like in waiting, some people, I'm not saying for all, but some people could probably wait to the point where they feel like I got it all together.
Yeah.
So whenever somebody try to come and present themselves, they automatically judge off what they see automatically. Like for example, right, for guys, I would say for me, and a question I would like to pose out there is, do you think that God is gonna cater to your desire? Because I wouldn't want to say lust, because lust is such. Once we say lust, you think of sin. But
He does grant the desires of your heart, according to His riches and glory.
So do you think?
And He grants the desires of His children.
Okay.
So, yes.
So do you think that if I'm saying, okay, I want a woman who's 6 foot tall, dark skin, long hair,
wants to be a housewife, and very ambitious too.
She might be a Jamaican, because I might like that little Caribbean,
Yeah.
or Trinidadian, or whatever the case may be. Do you think
Some
that
extremely specific
stuff? Do you think that He's gonna cater to that, or He's gonna send someone that's gonna suit your characteristic, your vision, and where you're gonna go, and where He needs you to go?
I like that question. I appreciate that question, because that's literally one of the chapters I read in a book called Boundaries in Dating. Boundaries in Dating. I can put the link in the description. Check it out. And literally, when I was driving to pick you up, the author was talking about that. He was saying, as much as you have to have high standards, you have to be realistic.
Yeah.
So don't ask for a woman who like cheesecake. Those things too specific, and you won't find somebody with every little
nitpicky,
small little fine detail. Now, if you believe you could write a list with 1,000 things and find all of that, you go ahead and hit me up in 20 years and tell me if you find that person. I won't be waiting.
Yeah.
But he was saying, right, we need to focus more on character stuff. And this stuff I've been hearing for the longest, but now it hitting different, bro. It hitting different. Because it's like, he's saying like character is like the most important things. That's the reason people get divorced over character issues. Things like, oh, my husband or my wife is a bad spender. My husband and my wife is insecure. They are very controlling. Those are the reasons people actually have problems in marriage and need counseling or get divorced. Not because the little details that most of the things we worry about.
Yeah.
Like that's the things that aren't factors in marriage, and that's kind of scary. And it's showing me like the importance of taking research, reading, and seeking God and more understanding and knowledge. So before we get into the actual thing.
So to add on to that, I think that's where, going back to what we were saying earlier, I think that's where like the importance coming of whilst you're in that single stage to make sure you check yourself, make sure you know who you are in terms of character.
Right.
Because let's say there's nothing wrong with saying, okay, I want someone that's beautiful or someone that's handsome.
I think nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Right?
Or then you kill me flat.
But let's say you start to get more so into the specifics.
Right.
There may be something within you in your heart that you may need to get rid of.
Bro, honestly, that's something I don't want to lie. I don't